Hello, boys and girls. Well, it's Monday again, and we are now up to chapter 11 of Danny the Champion of the World, and it's called The Sleeping Beauty. For 5 minutes, I was lying on my back in my pyjamas. My father came in and lit the oil lamp hanging from the ceiling. It was getting dark earlier now. All right, he said. What sort of story shall we have tonight? Dad said. I said, should we wait a minute? Oh, what is it? Said Dad. Can I ask you something? Just had a bit of an idea. Go on, he said. You know that bottle of sleeping pills Doc Spencer gave you when you came back from hospital? I never use them. Don't like using those things. Yes, but is there any reason why they wouldn't work on a pheasant? My father shook his head sadly from side to side. Wait, I said. It's no use, Danny. No pheasant in the world is going to swallow those lousy red capsules. Surely you know that. You're forgetting the raisins, Dad. The raisins? What's raisins got to do with it? Now listen, I said. Please listen. We take a raisin. We soak it till it swells. Then we make a tiny slit in one side of it with a razor blade. Then we hollow it out a little and we open up one of your red capsules and we pour all the powder into the raisin. Then we get a needle and thread and very carefully we sew up the slit. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see my dad's eyes beginning to gleam. Gleam means they shine brightly. Now, I said, we have a nice, clean-looking raisin, chock full of sleeping pill powder that ought to be enough to put any pheasant to sleep. Don't you think so, Dad? My father was staring at me with a look of such wonder in his eyes he might have been seeing a vision. My darling boy, he said. Oh, my sainted aunt, I do believe you've got it. I do. He was suddenly so choked up with excitement that for a few seconds he couldn't say any more. He came and sat on the edge of my bunk bed, and there he stayed, nodding his head very slowly up and down. Really think it would work? I asked him. Yes, he said quietly. It'll work all right. With this method we could prepare 200 raisins, and all we'd have to do is to scatter them around the feeding grounds at sunset and then walk away. Half an hour later, after it was dark and the keepers had all gone home, we could go back into the wood. The pheasants would be up in the trees by then roosting, and the pills would begin to work, and the pheasants would start to feel groggy, and soon every pheasant that had eaten one single raisin would topple over from the branch unconscious and fall to the ground. Boom! Why, they'd be dropping out the trees like apples, and all we'd have to do is to walk around and pick them up. Can I do it with you, Dad? Oh, they'd never catch us either, my father said, not hearing me. We'd simply stroll through the woods, dropping a few raisins here and there as we went, and even if they were watching us, they wouldn't notice anything. Dad, I said, raising my voice, will you ever let me come with you? Danny, my love, he said, laying his hand on his knee and gazing at me with his eyes large and bright. If this thing works, it will revolutionise poaching. But, Dad, can I come with you? I asked him loudly. Come with me, he said. But, my dear boy, of course you can come with me. It's your idea. He cried out, bouncing up and down off the bed. You must be there to see what's happening. Where are those pills? The small bottle of red capsules was standing beside the sink. It had been there ever since my father returned from hospital. He fetched it and unscrewed the top and poured the capsules onto my blanket. Let's count them, he said. And there they are, look.
Is that Sleeping Beauty? No. This.
We counted them together. There were exactly 50. Oh, that's not enough, he said. We need 200 at least. Then he cried out, wait, that's That's no problem. He began carefully putting the capsules back into the bottle, and as he did so he said, all we've got to do, Danny, is divide the powder from one capsule among 4 raisins. In other words, quarter the dose. That way we'd have enough to fill 200 raisins. But would a quarter of one of those pills be strong enough to put a pheasant to sleep, I asked. Of course it would, my dear boy, he said. Work it out for yourself. How much smaller is a pheasant than a man? I said, many, many times smaller. There you are then. If one pill is enough to put a fully grown man to sleep, you'll only need a tiny bit of that for a pheasant. What we'll give them will knock out the old pheasant for ages. He won't even know what's hit him. But, Dad, 200 raisins aren't going to get you 200 pheasants. Why not? Because the greediest birds are so surely going to eat and gobble up 10 raisins each. My father said, you've got a point there. You certainly have. But somehow I don't think it will happen that way. Not if I'm very careful and we spread them out over a wide area. Don't worry about it, Danny. I'm sure I can work it out. And you promise I can come with you? Absolutely, he said. And we're going to call this method the Sleeping Beauty method. It will be a landmark in the history of poaching. I sat very still in my bunk, watching my father as he put each capsule back into the bottle. I could hardly believe what was happening, that we were really going to do it, that he and I alone were going to try and swipe practically the entire flock of Mr. Hazel's prize pheasants. Just thinking about it sent little shivers of electricity running all over my skin. Exciting, isn't it? My father said. Don't dare think about it, Dad. It makes me shiver all over. Me too, he said. But we must keep very calm from now on. We must make our plans very, very carefully. Today is Wednesday. The shooting party is next Saturday. Cripes, I said. That's in 3 days' time. When do you and I go up to the wood to do the job? The night before, said my father. On the Friday. And in that way they won't discover that all the pheasants have disappeared until it's too late and the party has begun. Friday's the day after tomorrow, I said. We've got to really hurry if we're going to get 200 raisins ready for that. Don't you worry, my father said. I've got a plan. Here's the plan of action, he said. Listen carefully. And you'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out what happened. Bye, boys and girls. Enjoy.
Okay.